like a bunch of you sinners are back for more. Hey everybody, and welcome to video number 5. God, I cannot believe it's video number 5 already. Before we get started today, I have to wish a special birthday to my daughter Kate. She's 13 years old, and I officially have a teenager in the house. So I try to get her to do these videos with me all the time. She wants nothing to do with them. She always tells me she does not want to be known as the weird snake girl. I mean, I'm like the coolest dad ever. I spell Kesha with a $, yet she still does not want to be in my videos. And if you don't know who Kesha is, we can't be friends. So what do we have for you today? Breeder Spotlight. That's where we're going to start off with the video today. Is Mark Hager, my friend in Texas. Mark just hatched out these two incredible looking, when I tell you jet black little baby chondros, patternless. They're incredible. I am so jealous, so I'm looking forward to showing those. We're going to get into, as far as a product spotlight, top 3 products that every herper must have in their snake room. You can purchase all 3 for under $20, and I promise you they are going to change your life as far as keeping herps. I mean that. You have to know about these. And lastly, we're going to get back into what's going on with my breeding, my pairings. We're going to talk about the female I discussed in the last video that did not have a pre-lay shed. I'll get you up to speed on her. I just had another recent clutch of chondro eggs laid. We'll get into all that, so stick with me and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so in this breeder spotlight, we're going to feature my friend Mark Hager, who's over in Texas. Mark recently produced from a pair of chondros, and I'm going to put pictures up here so you guys can see, of course. His male, he calls it Munich, is a 2013, produced from a 2013 designer pairing. And when I say designer chondro really just basically means anything that's not a locality type. You start crossing 2 locality types together, those are like designer chondros. So the male is Munich from a 2013 designer pairing, and the female he calls Lizzo is a 2010 captive hatch. It was a Bushmaster baby, a Jaipura type, cross Lyra type. So the female laid 23 eggs. For various reasons, only 4 of the eggs hatch. But guys, look what these babies look like. I mean, can you imagine having only 4 chondro eggs? Yeah, you're bummed out of 23, but 2 of these little babies hatch out like that. You can see that one of them has a little bit of pattern on the tail, but other than that, they're not really jet black. They're really dark maroon, but they are patternless, and they should be amazing animals. So I'm really excited for Mark, and Mark, congratulations on those. For anybody else, if you have any unique pairings as far as hard to breed animals, or if you have an exceptional arboreal pairing, I want to know about it. So always you can send to Gary@gsreptiles.com, and I would love to feature you and your pairing in a future video. So in today's product spotlight, we're going to feature 3 separate products. All 3 of them can be purchased for under $20. The first one we're going to start with is the 7th generation hand soap. It is odorless and colorless, and it's completely harmless to use for your animals. I'm going to tell you exactly why you're going to buy it. Because we always talk about scenting animals, whether you're breeding carpet pythons, diamonds, or green tree pythons, and we talk about scenting pinky mice to get our baby started. What people never talk about is before you scent your animals with chick down or gecko scent or whatever you're using, first you should wash them with the 7th generation hand soap. Get the scent, the odor completely off the rodent, and then scent the rodent. And I'll tell you how I use it. I'll take a frozen pinky mouse or a frozen rat pup, and I will just take this hand soap while they're frozen, and I'll just rub the hand soap all over it to get the odor off of the rat pinky or the mouse pinky. I'll run it under the faucet so I make sure I get all the soap off of it. And then I'll just let them defrost as normal. And then what I'll try to do is I'll scent them with a chick down scent or a gecko scent, okay? And that's why this is so key. The other thing is if you breed diamond pythons or you breed carpet pythons, I suggest starting off with frozen thawed rat pinkies, okay? Wash them with this first, this 7th generation hand soap first. Get the odor off of them completely. You don't even have to scent a rat pink with the carpets and diamonds. Just try it like that. So anyway, let's get that 7th generation hand soap. Next time you go to the store, you can get it anywhere. And let's get on to product number 2. Okay, so for today's second product, we're going to talk about no pest strips. Now, you old school herpers will recognize these immediately. For you newer herpers, you're probably not familiar with them, and I'm going to teach you how to use them today and why they are so important to keep on hand. First off, they may be a little bit difficult to find. They have an active ingredient called dichlorvos. It's basically an insecticide. It is not illegal, but because it is an active insecticide, a lot of stores stopped carrying it years ago. Look, it's like anything else. You have to be careful with it, and for extended exposure, They can make certain people nauseous. There are some side effects, but we're not going to use it like that at all. And here's what we're going to do. Let's say you have an animal with a mite. You visually see mites on your animal. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut up your no pest strip into small pieces. That's like a 1 inch by 1 inch piece. And you're going to take a deli cup with holes in it, just like that one there, and you stick that little no pest strip piece into the deli cup. You put the lid on it. Now the animal that you're going to treat, you leave it in its tub, but you just first have to make sure you remove the water bowl and you remove any substrate that is in with your animal, okay? So again, water bowl comes out and no substrate whatsoever. You could put newspaper down, you could put paper towel down, something like that, but no pine shavings or cocoa chip, nothing like that. You then take this entire container and you put it in with your animal. Make sure you understand, you do not put your animal in the deli cup, okay? You put this entire deli cup with the no pest strip in with your animal. You leave it in for 3 to 4 hours. You come back, every single mite will be dead. There will be no mites in the eye sockets. There will be no mites in the nostril. Every mite will be dead. 7 to 8 days later, you're going to repeat that same treatment, because in 7 to 8 days later, those mites have laid eggs and those eggs are going to hatch. So again, you treat it like this, 3 to 4 hours. We wait 7 to 8 days, repeat that same process. You will now have eradicated every single mite. If you have mites in multiple enclosures, just do the same thing. Use common sense, guys, okay? If you touch the piece of no pest strip with your hands, just wash your hands really well. You don't want to put them near your mouth, obviously, after that. And what's so nice about this is the animal cannot come in contact with it. One thing I have to warn you about for those herpers out there who might keep crickets or insects in their herp room to feed their frogs or geckos or whatever, this stuff's pretty strong. I mean, you'll smell it. It's a subtle smell to it, but it's pretty strong and it goes into the air. And in the same room, if you have a small room, it will kill every single cricket in that room. That's how strong this stuff actually works and how well it works. So again, no pest strips are probably $7, $8. You could find them online anywhere. After you cut it up, what I do is I'll cut them up in small pieces. I put them in a larger deli cup and I'll stick it in the freezer. And that's how I store them. I'll keep them for about a year like that, and then I'll throw them out and start again. I also, just as an FYI, I treat every animal that comes into my collection. I assume it has mites. Even though I know it doesn't, I just treat them with a no pest strip because it's so easy, it's so simple and so effective, and that's just what I do. So there we go, product number 2. Let's get on with product number 3. Okay, the third product we're going to talk about today is metronidazole, better known as Flagyl. Okay, do not freak out on me, guys. I know when we talk about giving drugs with snakes, people get nervous. There's no injections being given here. It's extremely simple to administer, and I am going to teach you how to do that today. I'm going to tell you exactly how and why you're going to use it. First and foremost, I am not a vet. I do not claim to be a vet. And I am not smart enough to be a vet, okay? In fact, the only time I think I've ever scored 100 points on a test were my SATs, so let's just keep that in mind. Okay, so what is Flagyl? Flagyl is a very subtle general antibiotic used to treat a wide variety of infections. You can also use it to treat certain bacteria and parasites. So what do we use Flagyl for? There are 3 primary reasons one would use Flagyl. The first being regurgitation in an animal. The second being runny stools with an animal. And thirdly, it actually treats animals as, it actually works as an appetite stimulant, okay? So those are the 3 reasons that you would use Flagyl. What I want to focus on today, though, in this video is specifically regurgitation, because that's the email, that's the message I get on a continual basis. My baby green tree python or my green tree python regurgitated, especially baby emerald tree boas. It's not that uncommon, guys. So that's a common email I get. My baby emerald tree boa just regurgitated, and I really want to focus on how we're going to treat those animals. So let's pretend your baby emerald tree boa or your baby green tree python just regurgitated. What are you going to do, and how are you going to use this little tablet of Flagyl? First things first, did your baby just regurgitate within less than a 24-hour period? If it did, it might be a blockage. It may not be any type of bacterial infection or any other kind of infection, so Flagyl may not be effective there. In fact, if your animal regurgitates in that quick of a time after feeding it, you should probably get your animal to a vet and get your animal x-rayed, because again, it could be a blockage. Let's say a few days go by though and your baby just regurgitated. So now what are you going to do? Well, the first thing you're going to do is not feed that animal for minimally a 2-week period, okay? Baby emerald or baby green tree python. We're going to wait 2 weeks before we feed it again, and when we feed it, we're going to feed it a smaller meal than it would normally take for its first meal. Again, waiting 2 weeks, feeding it a smaller meal. Before we feed that meal though, we are going to hit that meal with Flagyl. We're going to take this little tablet, we're going to take a small piece of it, we're going to crush it up, and make it a fine powder, and we're going to dip either that pinky mouse or that fuzzy mouse or that rat pinky, whatever you're using, and we're going to roll it and dip it into, say, the last half of the rodent, okay? Only maybe the butt part of the rodent into the flagell. You don't have to dip the entire part of the rodent in the flagell, just a part of it, and then you're going to feed your snake that rodent covered with the flagell or partially covered with the flagell. And after you do that, then you're just going to wait, and then 2 weeks later when you feed again, you're going to hit that animal again with flagell, and you're going to do that 3 to 4 times. Are we dosing your baby accurately? Absolutely not. We're not. It's very difficult to do that though because these animals are so small. I can assure you, however, you are not going to overdose your animal on flagell. And if you use flagell and your animal regurgitates again after the first time you tried it, well, the flagell didn't help. But I will tell you 50% of the time the flagell will help. So again, just to backtrack, if your animal regurgitates within 24 hours, you probably want to get it to a vet. If you wait 2 weeks and you try to feed your animal again a smaller meal with a slight coating of flagell on it, and that animal regurgitates again, well, you might want to bring your animal to a vet. But again, as far as just trying this when you have a regurgitation, it's really effective, and it's not a waste of time. So pick up some flagell when you have a chance. So let's get into my breeding updates. That's what we focused on my last video with, all the breeding updates. So as I mentioned, I always want to keep you guys up to date with what's going on, and good, bad, or indifferent. As I always mention, I'm going to share all my experiences with you. You're in this with me. So Konica Sandboa babies, in my last video, we talked about those. I had a total of 6 born. I had 4 that lived. And then shortly after filming that last video, I had lost another one. So I have 3 Konicas now. I had lost another baby. Why did I lose another baby? Why did only 3 live out of the 6 babies? I have no idea, guys. Sometimes when babies are born, there's congenital defects, birth defects that you just can't see. So it's unfortunate. It bums me out, but it is what it is. The 3 that I have all ate immediately, so I'm happy to report that I still have those. I also have another female Conicus that is due to have her babies in the next coming week, so I'm hoping for a larger litter. This Maniquari female chondro, gorgeous girl. She just had a clutch of 10 healthy eggs last week. Hey guys, so I came down to check on this female chondro earlier today. Today is Tuesday, June 24th. It's about 5:30, 6 o'clock p.m. I'm on the East Coast. She probably started laying her eggs today at about, I'd say 12 o'clock this afternoon. So I let her be for a solid 5 hours, and you're going to discover with me what's going on here. So what do we got? So I'm going to show you guys in this video how many we have, but she's a really pretty female, really blue, and the eggs look pretty good. I'm feeling pretty encouraged, and I will follow up right now on this video. So she was bred to a Maniquari male, a really beautiful, he was actually a wild caught animal. I got him about 5-6 years ago. All the eggs look perfect. They're currently incubating, and now why don't we get into that female we discussed in my last video that did not have the pre-lay shed. So good news to report. This is the girl we discussed in my previous video who never had a post-ovulation shed. 38 days after her ovulation, I came downstairs though to find a clutch of 7 eggs. Of the 7 eggs, 6 were good. I candled them to make sure they had good vein growth. And it looks like I'm going to lose one of those eggs. So it looks like we're going to have a total of 5 eggs, but they should go to distance. As of today, they are 9 days old. So here's what I've learned about animals that do not have a post-ovulation shed, and here's what I want you guys to know, because this is the second time it happened to me. When these girls do not have a post-ovulation shed, you're usually going to get a smaller clutch of eggs. You're usually going to get a higher number of infertile eggs, and they are not going to use a nest box. And I anticipated that because this happened to me before. So what I did was, and by the way, she dropped her eggs from her perch. So what did I do? Because I kind of sensed that might happen. Every day, basically, when I was expecting her eggs, I removed all of her perches except her lower perch, right? I removed her water bowl every night because I didn't want her to ever drop her eggs from a perch into the water bowl. And of course, as I demonstrated in that video when I talked about not using nest boxes, I had coconut husk along the entire bottom of her enclosure. So, hey, look, it stinks that she dropped her eggs from the perch, but the good news was I was prepared for it. She dropped her eggs from the perch. They only dropped a few inches. They landed on nice, soft coconut husk, and now I have a total of 5 perfect eggs incubating from her, and I'm excited to show you guys those babies, hopefully in the next 40 plus days. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me today through another video. And I know I throw a lot of content and information at you, and I know especially if it doesn't pertain to you, it can get a little boring at times. Trust me, I dozed off twice and I'm the guy making the video. But I know at some point it is going to pertain to you, so I hope you were able to learn something. By the way, this is a 15-year-old male basin. He just hopefully started a litter for me. I'll keep you posted on this pairing. Really excited about that. Keep your fingers crossed. Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at gs.reptiles, because between these videos I put all my updates, all my breeding updates on Instagram, so please follow me there. USARK, $5 a month, guys. They do so much for us. They ask so little from us. So important. I'm going to stress that in every video. $5 a month. That's all it's going to cost you to become a member and support USARK. That's it. I'm going to see you guys in a couple weeks. Have a great 4th of July, and I'll see everybody soon. Who has the best YouTube channel? Me